Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Namaste. Welcome to Unravel the Thread, a podcast for people who want to apply the Yoga Sutras to yoga practice and to life today. Available online at simple-yoga.org, where you can also find dozens of videos for practice, hundreds of articles, videos for chanting, and guided meditations, all free resources to enrich your yoga practice. I am Ruben Vasquez, your companion on this journey of exploration. I am grateful for your comments and questions. It really makes my day to know that Unravel the Thread is making a difference in your practice and in your life. This podcast presents excerpts from the book Unravel the Thread, the complete guide for living the Yoga Sutras today. It also offers practices inspired by the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. If you love the podcast and want to support my work as an independent content creator, on the simple-yoga.org website, you can easily donate to keep the podcast going. Today, we will continue exploring our definition of health with optimal posture and graceful movement. This is the third part of this short series. In today's episode, we continue our exploration of our comprehensive definition of health. Here is the definition once again. Health is the harmonious integration of adequate appetites, efficient elimination, optimal posture, graceful movement, cheerful attitude, calm mind, and compassionate interactions. Having explored some basic ideas about our appetites and elimination, we are ready to consider posture and movement. In recent years, there have been countless discussions about the physical practice of yoga and the possible relationship, or lack thereof, between postural yoga as it is practiced today and earlier and ancient practices. Some of these discussions assume that there was an ideal yoga practice at some point in the past. Other conversations consider the many sources of cross-pollination that have helped to shape contemporary yoga practice. In some cases, practitioners may be interested in finding the ideal approach to practicing the postures and movements for a particular goal. For some, the practice of asanas and vinyasas offers a way to heal an ailing body. For others, a way to make the body strong and impervious to disease and illness. Still, others practice yoga to make the body beautiful or to purify the body so that it is a worthy vessel for our conscious awareness. Clearly, there is a whole spectrum of approaches to the practice of the postures and movements, including their role in a system focused on transcendence. So it is useful to consider, what are the reasons you have for practicing yoga postures and movements? Asking ourselves this question can help us ensure that our practice meets our goals. As we reflect on our answers to this question, we may find that some of our reasons overlap or that they change over time. Would it be useful for us to revisit this question from time to time? Can it help us notice if and how our perspective and motivation for practicing might change over time? In addition, answering this question can also remind us of how our practice aligns with our overarching goal. Let's start thinking about the idea of optimal posture with a little anecdote. Over 20 years ago, while living in Thailand, I noticed that in many places people would squat down to wait for transportation, to just hang out and chat, and they seemed quite comfortable. On some occasions, I also noticed that many people were comfortable sitting on the ground for long periods of time. Although I was already practicing yoga postures every day, it was humbling to realize that neither my floor sitting nor my squatting were optimal, because it was rather uncomfortable for me to sit or squat with the same ease as the people around me. I had not given it much thought at the time because I had not attempted or needed to squat for long periods of time. In short, the meaning of what is optimal is likely to be different for different people and even for the same person in different contexts. In other words, Our understanding of what is optimal posture needs to be flexible because our optimal posture will most likely be influenced by our personal history, context, circumstances, needs, and activities. When we consider the myriad variations in contemporary physical yoga practices, it may often seem that the 3 sutras dealing with asana in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra are insufficient to address all the vast number of possibilities for practice. It has been argued that the asanas Patanjali was referring to were only about sitting positions. However, I would like to invite you into this reflection on posture and movement as important elements of health by looking at posture and movement through Patanjali's instructions in Sutras 246 and 247. Let's start with the idea that optimal posture includes the idea that one can have steadiness and ease, or a pleasant steadiness in posture, as Patanjali suggests in Sutra 246. Let's not ignore Sutra 247, which also instructs us to drop effort and focus on infinity. Releasing struggle or minimizing effort in Sutra 247 suggests how to get into that state of comfortable steadiness. We can explore this idea by noticing if increasing effort seems to create an inner sense of constriction and stress. Is it possible that releasing efforts contributes to release congestion in our bodies and in our nervous system? But what about the idea of focusing on infinity? One possible interpretation is that in the posture we transcend the body, mind, and emotions. Another way of thinking about focusing on infinity is that Patanjali invites us to focus on the ever-changing infinite now moment. In other words, we focus on infinity by paying close attention to the experience, including sensations, emotions, thoughts, memories of the now moment before entering the posture, maintaining this focus on the next now moment, all the changing aspects of our experience while we remain in the posture, and then maintaining our focus on the next now moment as we release the posture. In summary, these 2 sutras suggest that there are 4 components in the practice of yoga postures, including a combination of firmness and comfort, effortlessness, and focus on infinity. We have not yet included the 3rd sutra on asana, 248, because instead of giving us instructions on how to practice, it tells us the results of practicing according to those instructions. One perspective on practicing a posture consists of thinking of the posture as a purely physical endeavor, a series of muscular actions that ask a combination of joints to lengthen, flex, extend, or rotate. It may also be possible to think about posture as a physical process originating in the brain and accomplished through instructions sent and received through the nervous system. For instance, it is possible to think about a posture like sitting in a chair or being in this standing up position as the result of some muscles shortening and other muscles lengthening to act on specific body joints. The other option indicates that the person probably does not think about the specific muscle and joint actions required to be in a seated position or standing. They just think about coming into that position. It is useful to think about postures as a combination of those 2 perspectives that also includes attending to the sensations that compose our experience so that we can use them as feedback for refining our actions in alignment with our intention. Graceful movement is an organic extension of optimal posture. Comfortable steadiness, economy of effort, and focus on infinity for accomplishing an intended action. Accomplished dancers are an excellent example of graceful movement. It seems like their bodies are weightless and their movements are effortless. When we observe a person skilled in a craft, like writing, painting, drawing, dancing, and other movements, We notice that it seems like they approach the movement process with simplicity, economy of effort, and playful curiosity that translates into graceful action that can be modulated with great precision. Perhaps their ways of moving offer us momentary glimpses of a state of superb focus and being beyond duality, the latter being the results of asana, according to Sutra 248. In our definition of health, it is important to keep in mind that optimal posture and graceful movement are individual, and that what may seem to an external observer as suboptimal may not keep into account the context and personal history of the person observed. What are the qualities of posture that would make specific postures optimal for you at this point in your life? What are the qualities that contribute to make your movements graceful at this point in your life? What is the mental, emotional, and physical feedback indicating ways to make your posture optimal for this moment? What feedback offers you ways to enhance the quality of your movements? Can thinking about your posture from a physical perspective offer you insights to make your posture optimal and your movements more graceful? If so, does that contribute to enhance the quality of your experience? Although we did not mention breathing as a specific component of posture and movement, is it obvious to you that modulating our breathing processes can influence the qualities of your postures and movements? Rather than thinking about specific expressions of posture and movement as ultimate goals to be achieved or conquered, can we think of optimal posture and graceful movements as invitations to exploring the range of possibilities available to us in the moment we are practicing? Similarly, we can consider what are the ways in which we can regulate muscular engagement, joint action, direction and speed of movement, and their interrelations to our attitude, intention, and focus. Additionally, although today's exploration was focused mostly on physical postures and movements, it may be useful to remember that we also tend to hold certain postures in our attitudes, our thoughts, our ways of thinking, and our emotions, and that those postures manifest in our bodies, our intentions, and in our actions and interactions. Can our ways of acting constitute a form of movement? Are those ways of acting graceful? Let's return to the idea of integral health and to the notion that the quality of our posture and movement can serve as indicators of our general state of health. Do you agree? Or do you disagree? I trust that contemplating the questions in this episode can be useful for you in designing physical yoga practices that contribute to your health. I also hope that enhanced posture and movement have a positive influence in your life. I hope that your exploration of these ideas is enjoyable and that you will listen to the next episode when we will continue exploring this definition of health. Remember, if you have questions when trying to apply these ideas, do not hesitate to contact me through my website simple-yoga.org. If Unravel the Thread is part of your day and you feel generous, I would appreciate it if you could support my work by subscribing, liking, and sharing. These are ways of supporting my work that cost nothing. If it is possible for you, you may also support my work by offering a donation at simple-yoga.org. Thank you. Remember that you can have your own copy of Unravel the Thread. Until next time, Namaste.